Good evening and welcome to the December 2nd Limerick Selectboard meeting. Please join us with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I look for a motion to approve the November 25th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? I look for a motion to accept this week's warrants. We have payroll only.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? I look for approval of the warrants from November 18th.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? And the approval of the warrants from last week too?
No,
Or was that no? Okay.
I think, did we have them last week? We had last week's warrants, didn't we? The whole thing? Yeah,
Okay,
that's
perfect.
why. Yeah, it's just those ones.
All right, would someone read the announcements, please?
Okay, the transfer station is now on winter hours, which are Wednesday and Sunday from 11 to 4 p.m. and Saturday 9 to 4 p.m. The planning board will meet on Wednesday, December 4th at 7 p.m. The budget committee will meet on Thursday, December 5th at 7 p.m. to discuss the select board templates. The select board will meet on Monday, December 9th at 7 p.m. The appeals board has 2 vacant seats to fill. Please reach out to the selectman admin if interested, 793-4475. And as a reminder, if you are speaking at any meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. And as part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public, will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees to town officials, to the chairman of the board of select persons outside the public meeting, and please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org. And also, these are elected positions that will be up on Friday. The nomination papers will be available beginning Friday, December 13th. And nomination papers must be turned in to the town clerk's office no later than 4:30 p.m. on Monday, January 13th, 2025. We have 2 select board 3-year term positions. Road commissioner, 2-year term. Trustee of the Limerick Sewerage District, a 3-year term. Planning board member, 3-year term. Library trustee is a 3-year term. Budget committee member, 3-year term. And the director of RSU 57, 3-year term. Trustee of the Limerick Water District, 3-year term. Planning board member, 3-year term. Library trustee is a 3-year term, and the budget committee member is a 3-year term.
Perfect. Thank you. Now I would like to call up Casey Gray to go over the town-owned properties.
Do you need one? Thank you.
Thank you for having me on our properties that are currently under contract on map 39, lot 105. Stan got a hold of a clerk at the DA's office who's going to provide that file for the consolidated construction suit, which should provide us with contacts for to find heirs so that we can do proper notices. On map 39, lot 106, Dog Road will be closing on the 13th. On map 38, lot 106, the buyer had sent a request to extend last week without a lot of detail with it. And getting to the bottom of it, they had started with one title company and had some sort of problem with them, and switched to his attorney, who asked for a bunch of information. I provided them that information, plus additional information since last week's meeting, and his attorney just doesn't seem to be like super speedy. So I do have a request to extend to December 31st, and the buyer does seem pretty motivated, and I think they're just in a circumstance that's maybe a little bit beyond their control, and so I would recommend extending at this time. Would the board like to vote on extending?
I make a motion to extend the contract for
Map
map
38.
38, lot 106, for an additional 14 days.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? I forgot I'm the one to say that this week, sorry.
No problem. Range E Road, we've received the deposit and proof of funds. And I have a message back out to them since last week about who they're using for closing. And I think he had his own attorney, and closing is scheduled for the 31st. Parsons Field Road was withdrawn because of the DHS liens, and Stan's working on notices for those. The 4 that we put under contract last week, map 42, lot 297, Claymore Terrace, map 42, lot 230, Nob Hill Road, map 42, lot 131, Nob Hill Road, map 41, lot 290, Arrowhead. We've received all the proof of funds and the deposits for those. So the buyer has met their obligations, and closing on December 20th. I don't expect any delays or problems. We had just one other listing left, and I had received 3 or 4 calls on that in the last week, but just one offer. Our asking price, the map 41 lot 231 Arrowhead was listed for $20,000. And the offer we received was $20,000. They had it subject to a number of inspections, including some that didn't really make sense, which indicated to me maybe the buyer agent wasn't familiar with filling out the land purchase and sale agreement, but probably not an indicator of the lack of seriousness of the buyer. I had left them a message with some questions, but I didn't receive a call back. It is a cash offer subject to proof of funds provided within 3 days, and a closing date of December 23rd, 2024. I think overall it is a good offer, and I would recommend accepting the offer. Would the board like to vote?
Make a motion that we accept the offer for map 41, lot 23. Is that 231? Map 231? Making sure
Map
no-
41, lot 231.
$20,000.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I don't know how we can enter into a contract that has inspections and issues that extend beyond closing.
Yeah, I
So,
thought that was problematic. So I think we're dealing with someone on the other side who maybe lacks experience. So when she has her days, she didn't count them as business days. But some of it didn't make any sense to me how she filled it out. Like for example, she filled out, checked yes on MDOT permit. Clearly you do not need an MDOT permit in Lake Arrowhead. Which was actually the lengthiest inspection that they had on there, which was the one that went beyond. So I think it's not applicable, really. I'd be happy to present it as a counteroffer with correcting her
Yeah.
dates if you'd like.
So I'll, change my motion pending we submit a counteroffer.
Changing her inspection dates.
we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Does the opposed fail?
3 in favor?
It was 2 in favor, 2 opposed.
Oh, 2 opposed.
I'm sorry, I didn't see.
I will respectfully request them to resubmit their offer next week. And all of our current properties are under contract other than that, so thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, that is all I had for department reports. We'll go into old business. Review of legal accounts. We don't have this week's warrant, so we have not seen a bill yet. Cemetery mowing and cemetery committee, there's nothing new on that. Is there anything new on the shelter survey?
Nope.
No. All right, squad truck is posted on gov.deals. Ad's gonna go into the shopping guide next week with details on the truck. Do you have anything to add, John? Or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Steve's got a question up back.
Thanks for getting the microphone working. Anyway, hey, on the brush truck, squad truck, it is online.
Yep.
But have you looked at it?
I have.
We ought to do some retaking of pictures. The pictures don't do any justice, the shadows and everything else when I looked at it today. The other thing is we ought to highlight the good things about the truck, all right? The truck does have a new clutch, okay? I deal with this all the time, so we want to promote what's good about it and also let them know what the deficiencies are, all right? Because there's really no such thing as is. So we can add, you can add to it as it's going, but like I said, you look at the pictures, I think we can get some clearer pictures. And the other thing, we probably ought to move it over to the fire station. Now it's on private property, it's the town vehicle. We ought to move it either the old fire station or the new fire station, so if people want to go look at it, they can look at it. And the other thing is we got to get the plates off it, the license plates can't go with that truck. They're municipal plates, they got to be removed.
Thank you. Update on the Microsoft email, or Microsoft Exchange email. We're working on a date with Modem Waves. Budget 2025 update/review. Review the earned paid leave template. And do we need a town manager template?
So you have the EPL one to go over, accept, and I know we want to put on a town manager question for March, so we need to budget in if we need that town manager salary somewhere.
Do we all have copies of that? You sure?
So in the administrative budget, we should put, assuming we're going, I guess, if we're going to put the warrant forward, then we have to put together in the administration budget the cost for it.
Anything cost for our town manager?
The yearly cost?
Well, right. So could we, does that, it just seems like we're jumping to a conclusion on that. So what, we have another, we're still gonna have to go through the hiring process.
Yep.
And then we have, there's an election every 3 months, we could just, I know that it's budget season, but if we don't even know if we're gonna need it, do we wanna raise the money for it?
Well, if we raise the money and it doesn't go through, then we can, when we do the commitment, we know that we can take that amount right off. So it won't affect taxes at all. So if we raise it in March, you know, because we have the vote going out there, and if the vote goes through positive, then we need the money to pay the person. If it doesn't, come, when we set the commitment and the mill rate for 2025, which is towards the end, you know,
Right.
2/3 of the way through the year, we can always take from unassigned to knock down
At that point.
at that point. So if we've, let's say we budget $100,000, we can deduct the $100,000 from the committed amount, from the raised amount of money.
Yeah.
We can offset it.
Change people's
from-
commitments,
and
so
change-
it's not,
so it won't-
it's not too late.
So if the money goes in there and we don't have the person, people will not pay on that amount of money.
So we're looking to, think we should build it out now, or?
I would put it in the budget now to just have it there just in case.
Just in case, yeah.
How much do we want to do?
Well, if in fact it passed, it would pass in March. You'd be looking at probably at least a 2-month hiring process at a minimum. So that's April, May, into June. By the time somebody comes on, you might be thinking of, by the time you get through the hiring process and vet them and hire them, they might start July 1st, so half the year's worth,
So $60,000 wouldn't be unreasonable.
$60,000 would
That
be.
would cover,
Yeah, I was thinking.
we would want to maybe break it up, but that would be that point.
Does that include the hiring process amount that,
No,
like,
Medicare,
no, we still would need to budget
still got it, okay,
$10,000 for the hiring process.
okay.
I guess the other question, to be fair, is if we're going to bring this question forward again, I mean, I've heard, we're bringing this forward because we believe it's important. Many people are saying, well, they didn't vote for the charter because of this, and now we're trying to bring it back around through. Well, the charter was a whole host of things. I guess the question is, I think we all know the two things that were big in people's minds were the town manager and the elected positions.
Yeah, we already voted to put that one on,
So
that question.
if we're gonna bring them both back, okay.
How do you want to word this one? How do you want this worded, the town manager one?
Oh, we better think about that. Can we get it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's,
Yeah, I already have the one for the elected officials, because we voted on that before, so I have the same wording for that.
All right. Then the earned paid leave template. This was to take earned paid leave, correct me if I'm wrong, out of different budgets and combine it into one. So we kind of, or Alicia took the, everybody has a copy of these. Alicia took the totals from the budgets and kind of just put it into one, I would assume. I think that looks good, and I think it makes sense to kind of have that in one budget. We should also, the Article 15 about the health insurance, from, the vote was in
2013.
2013, read as follows: to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $6,000 for employee health insurance. Selectmen and budget both recommended yes. So that's kind of a open,
So I think we need to know, so right now in our personnel policy, how it follows that they get, so that was the vote, and then basically in our policy, full-time employees who voluntarily elect to withdraw from participation health insurance plan provided by the town, do so reimbursed upon presentation of proof of health insurance monthly. Full-time employees opting out of coverage will be compensated a rate of $500 per month. So I know we talked about sending that to the town attorney for wording on the ballot and then making that into an ordinance. So now that we have that very open-ended vote that it came about, is that still what we want to do? Like, I can send him how we voted and what our thought process was with that? That's still the plan?
I think it should still go to the town attorney, but I don't know what everybody else feels.
I mean, it's something that we voted on, didn't really make an ordinance on.
No, I don't know how, I mean, that's a very open-ended,
Yeah, it doesn't say.
doesn't say per
6,000
employee,
per-
nothing
mhm.
broke, I mean, so, we want to make it an ordinance, correct? Moving forward, like with new employees? Is that the goal for the question?
For the health insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Kind of.
what I,
Going forward for all
Okay,
new
I
employees.
just wanna make sure that I'm giving him the right information when I email him. I'm gonna email him this, currently what we have and what our goal is basically up to $500 per month, right? If you need it or can prove. Okay.
Would someone like to vote on the earned paid leave, adding that as its own budget?
the earned paid leave
The earned paid
should
leave.
be its own line, yes. So I make a motion that the earned paid leave be added as a separate line item to the warrant and budget,
Second.
And recommend
and recommend a yes vote.
So, before there was a second on it, questions, is it going to be something that we have to create a journal entry for, separate?
Yeah, it'll be a separate account.
And then the follow-up question is, it occurs to me that once we actually put all these together to be on the warrant, we recommend a yes vote on a group of departments.
This is in the, it's
Warrant-
in
warrant
a
will
group,
be some
it's
of it.
already, it's in one.
And the only reason I bring that up is because if we vote on them individually, and some of them we say no on, how do we vote on the bulk?
No, this one is, in with, I can't remember where I put it.
In professional, legal, or
Yes, I
administrative?
think so, like under, with the,
I know what you're saying.
trio, like under
Yeah.
there's a line item for that I put there.
So it's definitely like, we're gonna make the recommendation here and vote on it, but I just considering going forward until we have the completed warrant articles, should we be making recommendations?
Well, this one's really not raising any more
Yeah,
money.
right.
Because they were all in different departmental templates, just broken out, so it's in its own account.
Yep.
So, but it is in one template, it will be in one group on that green sheet, but I see what you're saying.
But that was it.
Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain? Okay. And then we will review the recommendations by the Building Advisory Committee. We did get the fund balance for the undesignated account. According to the records we have, we are in the red of that account by a little over 430,000 from the records that Julie provided today, and I have that right here if you want to
I think everybody does.
Everybody has a copy of that.
So, yeah.
So, we have those recommendations that we're requesting to transfer from the unassigned. So I don't know how the board feels. Yep.
I know what you have in front of you says the unassigned, but remember what we presented to you in the PowerPoint, the unassigned or the capital account, because we didn't know where funds were. And so, and I can get you copies of that PowerPoint if you need it. I know that article says that, but it was either or is the way we presented it that night. Thank you.
Do you have a copy of that unassigned? I don't think we, did we all?
That is the broken down one that Julie gave. And Julie may be able to answer some questions on that. I don't know, but that is what was.
There's no starting balance. I don't understand this. Can you,
I gave the single page with the yellow highlights.
The starting balance is what you see in the top one, but I can't verify any of them except the last 3 entries, because that hasn't been given, the auditors haven't given us anything on that. Why do you put your initial budget in this?
why is there, I mean,
I know, but
the undesignated, I mean, if you look at the top right, at that balance of almost
Right.
$2.4 million, the unassigned fund has never been $2.4 million. So that's, as long as I can, if it is, then congratulations, well, no, not congratulations, because we've spent $2 million somewhere we don't know about. So,
that's what you would ask the auditors to do,
Yeah.
but when they were here, all they did was pre-audit testing.
well, I guess I'll give them a call. I mean, I guess we can assume for right now, the number is $433,658 in the unassigned account.
In the positive?
That's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's not bad news, that's good news, assuming the number's correct. So I can check with the auditor tomorrow and see how far they've gotten with that list of requests that we gave them,
Right.
because that was part of the request.
Yes, sir.
I hope that she gathered enough information with her to tell us what that number is, but I will double check with them tomorrow.
Because all my knowledge, other than what I had emailed her with the detailed report, was the testing for the audit for '24.
But didn't you give them some access online? Did they have, or they asked us, excuse
They
me,
had all of the detailed reports. Every
Yeah.
report they they
They-
had sent it.
they had that prior to her coming in?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so maybe the information she needed wasn't there, but I will actually
Thank you, because I
send them
haven't,
an email and ask them where they're at.
okay, thank you, because I haven't heard anything either.
And on this, it just says the 433,658.36 is in the red. Are we just gonna verify what the
Red means good,
red means good?
yeah.
Everywhere I've been, red means bad, but okay. I mean,
I'm with you.
Fire is bad, right?
yeah. Okay,
Well, just the starting balance and then the debits is more than the starting balance.
The only, I mean, none of the numbers, anything between the $2 million mark and the $433,000 mark, none of that makes any sense to me, but, and none of it adds up. I mean, you can run those numbers 100 ways from Sunday, they don't,
The balance is to the 433, I did it.
Yeah.
To go with your debits and your credits,
But
the
there's-
balance is to that.
I like to use green.
green is good?
Color green, yeah.
So because the numbers are still dancing, can we
Yeah.
table this and talk about it next
I
week?
think we can safely say that if we're gonna vote for any of those numbers, we can take them out of the capital reserve account. We know for a fact, just based on the land sales that have come in, that we're gonna have, that account is gonna be very healthy. So based on money we've already received, and more to come, but based on what we've already received, the money that's gonna get transferred to the capital reserve account from all these sales we're having will more than cover your requests. So I guess if we might as well just,
yeah.
I mean, one pocket or the other doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference.
So I have another question. I'm not sure how you're going to vote on the second egress being back. Given that you're not comfortable with that, would you entertain changing that particular item to an architectural survey that would make you feel more content about doing that? Or not? Just saying.
I guess, to be honest, the only problem I have with that is, and I'm not saying one person is right and one person is wrong, but people have separate opinions. Now, do you bring an architect in and say,
Well,
what's our best move? Like, do you pay and then
Well,
pay
we've
them to
had-
have
we've-
them tell us what we want?
We've had two architects tell us that anything we do, we should do on the back of that building. TTL Architects said that. The architect that we had, that helped us with the ramp, we talked with him at the time. He said that, and I have another independent architect that I've talked to who does historical buildings. He's told me that, and he's familiar with the building. So that's what we think, but
Well, the
if
architect,
you want it in writing, we can get
the
it.
architect that did the ramp,
Yeah,
the gentleman from Sanford?
yes. No,
Uh,
well, he was from Auburn.
No.
He had an office in Sanford, too.
This was one of the last projects he ever did, I can't remember his name. But he came from Sanford.
He has an office in Sanford.
Okay.
He lives in Auburn, and I think he
All
had
right.
an office there, too, at the time, you know. But I think he's retired now.
He stood on the grass with me next to that building and said, take that window out and put a door in.
Yeah.
So that's the guy who did the ramp. That was that's where I heard about it for the first time and said, boy, I think that's a great idea. So
Mhm.
I know that I've been an advocate of that. That's just me, I'm one person. I don't want to pay an architect to tell us what to do.
Well, you're
want-
going to pay somebody $7,500 to tell you what to do with the 1967 fire station.
Well, we know that we have potentially some structural issues up there. We want to know what the structural integrity of the building is. We're not asking, what should we do with the building? We're not asking them how we should enter the building or how we should exit the building. We want to know what the structural integrity of the building is, and what it will, if it does have deficiencies, what would it take to fix it?
Well, there was some question about the brick on the back, if it was exposed, where it's been not exposed since 1932, okay? There was questions like that, and a survey would quiet that thought down.
The brick on the back of the brick town hall?
Yeah, it was repointed above the roof, okay, just recently in the last 5 years, but there was a question about exposing brick that's been covered by a roof for almost 100 years. I think it would be fine, but, you know, we can answer questions like that and answer questions about the brick that's there and taking that door out and make people feel warm and comfortable. Okay. I'm just saying, okay. I don't know how anybody's going to vote on this, but thank you.
Steve?
All the stuff going around and around and around, can somebody on the board explain to the taxpayers what the hell's going on? We've heard 430 negative, 430 positive, and we're talking about the building up there right now. It's just kind of confusing of whatever report you guys had there. I mean, I think somebody ought to just say, this is a report we got, and this is, explain it. You guys are all talking about it, kind of confusing.
So according to the report and what the treasurer stated, I misspoke, and in the undesignated fund balance, there is $433,658.36 in the positive,
Okay.
which is labeled red.
So that's money that is, call it leftover, every year, when you get to the end of the budget, if there's money left over, it goes in the unassigned account. In the past, sometimes we vote to take some money out of there to do different things. We can use that to offset taxes. We've transferred, when it was much healthier than that, we used it to offset taxes when we do the commitment.
We've done it
Yeah.
almost every year. No, I'm just saying, it's just, all the numbers are going around, negative, positive, and then we had 2.4 million, like I said, boy, if we.
Well,
get-
there's numbers
if we
on,
get-
I'm just looking at a report that I just
No,
saw for
that-
5 minutes.
That's what I'm saying, if we're all confused, we gotta present to the taxpayers.
Well, that's why so our town auditor was here on the 21st of November. They were given some very specific instructions on things that we wanted. One of them was to figure out and determine to the penny what our undesignated balance is.
Right.
So we will hope that they took enough information to do that. I'm gonna email them and ask them where they're at with that, but that was one of the things they were asked to do. Because it's important to know what that is. It really shouldn't be, it shouldn't be that difficult, to be honest with you. We shouldn't be struggling with this. We do have, the difference between the transition between one treasurer and how it was done in the past, and how Julie's doing things now. She took over in March, so there was 3 months of the previous treasurer, and not right or wrong, by just the way that they did things.
I'm just
So,
saying, with all the conversation tonight, it's pretty confusing. You're gonna have some people say, oh, look, we're 430 in the hole, and then we got 2.4 million, well, why don't we pay
No.
the fire station?
no,
I'm just saying,
we don't have 2.4 million, so let's not,
that was the first
even
number
consider
that
that.
came out.
well, it's on the report there as a starting number, and
I'm just saying, you
I don't
can
know
see
why,
where
yeah.
everyone's gonna be at, and, as far as, town hall, that's just kind of tying all this stuff in together. I think anything done up there should be vote of the people before we do anything. All right, if we're gonna tear the whole back off, or what we're gonna do, that's gotta be explained, and, I don't care
Well,
if
the-
I don't care if you vote for money, that's one thing, but before we move ahead, I mean, the suggestion of the other bathroom coming out the side's been kicked around now for 10 years. Okay, so if that's what we're gonna do, that's what we do, but any other major changes up there should be really discussed and put out to the public so they know what's going on. No surprises.
Just say we just eliminate that particular article right now. Don't vote on anything regarding that, and we'll work a little bit harder at doing a better job of explaining. How's that?
Well, I don't think it's, I disagree, because I think it's probably one of the more important things we need to do. And again, my one opinion, for short money,
It's,
we could put another exit there. And that gets us the use of that building back. And if we're gonna keep the building, it should be usable. So for not a lot of money, we can get that to where the fire marshal will allow us to bring the first floor back up to, you know, we can't put every decision, we have to make the best decision amongst the five of us and put it out to the people to vote and explain it the best we can when it comes to them to vote. And if we vote to put on my thought of the right side, or Gail's thought, or the committee's thought of ripping the whole back down, whichever one we decide, we need to decide as a board. We can't put out to the people, do you want to put it on the right, do you want to put it, they can't, we just, every decision can't be made that way. We need to make the decision and then give it to the people to vote on. And if they vote yes, then we move forward. If they vote no, we back up and try Plan B. But,
so you're saying that even your suggestion of coming through another window will go to the people? You won't just do that? Is that what you're
no,
saying?
all of these would be, we need to appropriate the money. So as a part of appropriating the money, we will explain that our current plan, if we're appropriating $25,000, is to take out the fifth window down, put a door in its place with a landing and a set of stairs to give a second exit to the first floor. Or it's, we take out the bathroom and take out the sixth window down and get rid of a perfectly good, usable bathroom in the process.
So you're saying you're not against appropriating the money, it's exactly how it will be spent? Is that what you're saying? I thought Mr. McLean was indicating that if we tear down anything, we have to ask the people.
Well, if we're gonna appropriate, I mean, if this board says we're gonna rip down the back of the brick town hall and we need the money for it, the people have to approve the money. And approving the money also, by approving the money, they approve the concept and the activity, right? So they're melded together, right? It's not like that changes.
In a way, the town does have, the people do have the
The
option.
people will have the vote, they have to be informed, and we have to do a good job explaining it, and hopefully more people will show up and listen, and whether we rip the back half off, or we put the exit on the right, a bunch of people are gonna complain that we did it poorly and should have done it the other way, but they're not gonna be here to tell us that beforehand, so we have to take the best information we have and make a decision, and then, in the end, like everything else that happens in this town, the people decide how it happens. We just put it out to them.
All right. That being said, should we just go down the list of the recommendations, or the proposed articles to make our recommendations? And we would just be taking it from the capital, we're safe to say?
Capital Project Reserve
Capital
account.
project. So I'd look for a motion on the first article. Shall the town vote to establish a capital project reserve account in Fund 3 under Bricktown Hall revitalization, a corresponding expense account, and transfer $25,000 from the capital project reserve account? And then the note there is $18,609.34 was received from an insurance claim for water damage to the Bricktown Hall second floor. Funds would be used to repurpose the kitchen and bathroom area on the second floor.
I know we've talked just a little bit about, if it's okay to talk about it before any motions.
I think we should have a motion to either, somebody should make a motion to accept it and second it, and then we can talk about it. Or if there's no motion, then we move on.
I make a motion that we accept the first article.
It's a motion, is there a second? I do not see a second, so we will move on. Second article, we'd be looking for a motion. Shall the town vote to establish a capital project reserve account in Fund 3, Bricktown Hall Revitalization, and transfer $245 from the Town Hall repointing account, 533-00, to the new reserve account? Note, capital project account 533-00 has been completed.
I make a motion we accept the recommendation of the second article as presented and recommend a yes vote.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Article 3, shall the town vote to establish a capital project reserve account in Fund 3, Bricktown Hall second egress, a corresponding expense account, and transfer $30,000 from the capital project reserve account to the new reserve account. Note, Building Advisory Committee recommended removing 1932 Fire Station from the back of the Bricktown Hall to make way for a second egress required by State of Maine Fire Marshal.
I make a motion we accept third article, removing the note.
The note. The note.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Slow to talk. I know.
I was watching.
I know. Will we be, is this, so we're gonna leave it open-ended with the second egress?
Well, this gives us some money to at least work with and say, okay, you know, can we now, I mean, I know that it's gonna be, we're putting the cart before the horse, we don't know what anything's gonna cost yet. But I think common sense and some reasonable knowledge would say that $30,000 would probably take out a window and put in a door and a landing. I think so if that were the way we'd go, I think that would cover this. I think if we decided to use this money to get some opinion or an architect for second egress, that would cover that also. So this gives us the funds to move forward
In a capital project?
in a capital project account, and if we vote at some point in the spring to, I mean, nothing's gonna be done over the winter. I mean, unless I guess we could get an architect in there if that's the way we look to go, but, I would say we, put this in there, and if it's approved, we start moving forward and say, what's our best avenue?
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, and there is a fourth and a fifth article, but the page did not print double-sided, so I can read them and pass them down if needed. The fourth article, shall the town vote to establish a capital project reserve account in Fund 3, more building revitalization, and transfer $5,000 from the capital project reserve account to the new reserve account.
I make a motion, we accept the article as stated
And recommend a yes vote?
and recommend a yes vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, 2 in favor, 2 opposed. So that fails. All right. And Article 5, or the fifth article, shall the town vote to establish a capital project reserve account in Fund 3, Scout Hall efficiency upgrades, a corresponding expense account, and transfer $8,000 from the capital project reserve account to the new reserve account.
Make a motion, we accept the article as presented and recommend a yes vote.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, that passed. All right. Next on the agenda is to sign the mowing contract for professional landscaping. We voted on the changes last week, so we will sign that after the meeting. Discussion on ARPA funds. We all have an email somewhere in here. Yes, right here. So this is a request from Chief Pelletier at the fire station to request for use of the ARPA funds as there's an influx of people that are joining as call members and/or per diem. The challenge that is being faced is a lack of protective equipment needed to outfit these people so they can respond to incidents such as fire gear and stuff. He gave us a quote to purchase protective gear and radios to outfit 5 personnel with the ARPA funds if possible. Total guess is $5,363 per person, with a total request of $26,815 to outfit 5 personnel. Did you have any further on that? No?
That's mainly this was an easy way for him to commit without wondering about grant money or not. Certainly could order up this stuff at any time. So he just had some really qualified people who want to become a part of the department, but not enough gear, which is, you know, not a great thing. If you have people who certainly be a part, but you don't have the gear. So he did up some quotes. I told him to do up some quotes today to get us a number, because I know we have to have a special town meeting to commit the funds. And with our time, it's not leaving us a lot of time, so.
Yeah, we have to, like, get this done. So we need to figure out tonight what we want to spend these funds on. There's,
Do we know an exact total in that?
50,
5881.95.
What was it again, Julie?
58081.95. That's taking out the 125,000.
58,895?
No, $81.95.
51, oh, 58,000
081.
and change, okay. So 58.
Taking out the 125. That will be.
And we have to do a special town meeting to appoint those funds, correct?
We have to do, yeah, so if we approve to go forward, to ask the town to transfer 26,815 for the fire department.
31,26695.
Is what's
Okay.
left?
The only other request I received was from the Secocas Lake Association. They are spending around $15,000 to update the dam, how they lower it and raise it. The Secocas Lake Association on their own has come up with half, and they've asked for a number somewhere between 5,000 and 7,500. would be, what's that? Well, I think the town actually owns the dam, and it would be considered infrastructure. Even though they control it, but yeah, the town actually owns it. So after that, I would say we could back up a little bit to the Moore Building. No, not the Moore Building, I'm sorry. The Scout Hall.
Yep.
How much of that was for a HVAC system?
8,000? Was it 8?
It was 8,000 total requested. The HVAC system, I want to say, was 4,200 if I'm going based off memory.
So that would be considered a energy efficient upgrade, which we can use.
Okay.
So we could
Actually,
take that money from opera funds if we wanted. Oh, yeah, the problem is, I mean, we might get one or two, yeah, yeah, I mean, that's certainly on the. I guess what we could do is, we could vote to appropriate the balance.
4,200 was for the heat pump.
All right.
I just went back.
If we appropriate the balance to energy upgrades for town-owned properties, we could do heat pumps here, whatever's left, and we could do the Scout Hall with that money instead of from the capital project account.
Can we just edit the, well,
Can I get your dollar figures on the three projects, please?
the request from Chief Pelletier was,
I got that one.
okay.
They don't know yet. They didn't vote, they didn't.
We didn't vote on anything else yet. We haven't voted on,
Figuring it out.
we haven't voted on any of them yet.
No, right.
We'll have if, there'll either be one or two fixed numbers, and the rest will be the balance. Yeah,
Yeah, so we would have to change the 5th article.
so I make a motion, we set a town meeting date, and as Article 1, ask the voters to transfer from opera funds $26,815 to the Fire EMS Department for protective gear.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
And recommend a yes vote.
All those in favor? I'll be abstaining as I'm on the fire department.
So that's $26,815 for the fire department. I make a recommendation that we ask the voters to transfer $6,000 from the opera fund for the Secocas Lake Association for dam infrastructure repairs.
Second.
Motion and recommend a yes vote?
And recommend a yes vote.
This is for the same town meeting
It's all gonna be done at once.
article.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor? All in favor. All right.
Then I make a motion that we take the final balance of ARPA funds, whatever that is.
25,26695.
Well,
You've got two
So-
things that you wanted to do, so.
we've got two.
Yep.
I want to not put an amount for the last one.
Right.
I want to just put the balance in the opera account, because if one of these two or both these two don't pass,
That's true.
the other one can go, people may, so
So balance of our.
the balance of the opera funds to be used for energy efficiency upgrades for town-owned buildings. And recommend a yes vote.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right.
That would, if,
Fall under the energy
that will fall under
efficient.
the energy efficiency. Yep.
Didn't follow that, I apologize.
All right, that is the, and should we wait to change Article 5 of the, for the, shall the town vote to establish a capital project reserve account for the scout efficiency upgrades? Should we wait to change that to see if this passes? or-
I would say we recommend change that to up to instead of an exact amount.
Okay.
And then we'll know if this passes, then we don't need to take out of the capital reserve account all of that. So I make a motion that we modify the motion for Article 5, was it?
Yep, the fifth article.
Article 5 to say up to $8,000, that was up to $8,000.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
And I'm gonna back up and recommend that, really, this is how we run into trouble with these $245 accounts, like the brick pointing. So I think we should go back to the $30,000 motion and again say up to, because what happens is we transfer $30,000 and we use $29,850 and you got $150 that sits in an account.
But what if we only use a part of it because next year we only do have the architect come out and look at it, but we don't do any of the project?
Well, that's fine, we don't
Reappropriate it
have to reappropriate it because we can use it up to $30,000
until it's
until
done.
it's done, until we spend $30,000. So
And that was Article 3.
I make a motion, we amend Article 3 to read up to $30,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Those were the only two that we agreed to spend money on, right?
Yeah, the first one was a no vote. The second article was to transfer 245 from that, one of those accounts.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of those little dinky accounts that we got left that we don't need.
So does this mean we don't put it on, or we don't recommend? What does that mean?
Yeah, for the first article, because we didn't vote, we would not put that on.
Doesn't even go on.
It doesn't go on.
Okay.
And then we already did the other ones on the back, correct?
So now we need to figure out dates. We need to set a date for special town meeting.
Has to be before the end of the year, correct?
Do I hear Christmas? I'm just kidding. I don't know that calendar.
Nobody changed it.
You can't move it.
I'll let it slide this time.
Stops here, so.
I have one pulled up here.
You want to double check with the town clerk, but tentatively set it for the 30th? See if that works?
What if you have a massive snowstorm?
All right,
I just,
all right, you want to check, see if we can do it on the 23rd with a weather date of the 30th, assuming,
would rather have a little, because our luck.
We'll be in here at 11 PM on the 31st.
Okay, so we want to try for the 23rd at 7 PM. Snow date, the 30th.
Yep. And, I mean, these are funds that if we don't, we will have to give them back. So if we don't appropriate them for something on the 23rd or the 30th, then it's lost money. So even if a handful of people can make it, it's funds we haven't committed. It's just important to get the vote.
All right, we will check with the town clerk on that. That is all I had for old business. Going on to new business, sign any municipal deeds. One did have a mistake that was already, you can explain that a
So it was
little.
one that we'd already done, and partly I'll take the fall for it. But at the bottom where it says personally appeared, the above name, It had Gil's name in it, and so I notarized that, but Gil wasn't at that meeting, so he didn't actually sign the deed. So the Registry of Deeds had sent it back to that person, so we changed it. We knew Gil wasn't gonna be here tonight, so now it has Brady's name in it. If you guys just re-sign it, then I'll notarize it, and she will send it to the, so it's one you already approved. It just was, that was the issue with it.
All right, we'll sign that after the meeting. Discussion of moving the paving funds, Katie and John.
So, I know that we did, is that check still being held?
Yes.
Okay. So, we need to get together with the road commissioner. It appears that Carroll Materials billed $121,000 roughly. I think that the total amount was 300. So we gotta figure out, A, there are some complaints on the work that they did. So we're holding the check until we know that the road commissioner has a positive plan in place for them to correct the defects. All I know is what I've heard, and some people have said, what they told us is, they still have to come back and do the top coat. So the assumption is, they build 120 of the 300, and they get the extra 180 next year when they top coat it. Now, I don't know anything about paving, but people have said, and I don't know how much they know about paving, but that what they've done some of it may have to actually come up, because if you just pave over it, you're gonna get the same ripple. So I think we really ought to have a meeting with the road commissioner and somebody from Carroll Materials, because they are very good to the town, there's no question about that, but we are good in return, and this is now the second out of 3 years that the paving that we've asked to be done hasn't got done, right? So it's been thrown off to another year, right? 2 years ago, they didn't do any, then they made it up this past spring, but blew off all our spring, summer stuff to fall and into winter, and now it's not done. So I think we ought to ask for a meeting of the road commissioner and somebody from Carroll Materials to come up, explain their bill, explain what the whole bill is gonna be when they're done, and I don't have any reservations that they will give us a good product in the end, but I think we should at least hear it from them and get something on paper as to how they intend to fix what is a perceived problem, and they may tell us it's not a problem. Maybe they may justify what they did, but between the road commissioner and somebody from Carroll Materials,
Do we want it at the next meeting?
I would think so, because they're probably gonna, if they give us a good enough plan and scenario, then we will.
Or is this just something that Scott can have a discussion and come at you with, or do you want them here for a meeting? I think it should be here. Well, I just mean like if Scott gets the information from Carroll's and comes to the meeting, or do you want someone from Carroll's Material here? Just wanna make sure I'm clear.
I would normally say that
Just because it's his department.
that Scott could more than handle it. I know he's capable of handling it. I would trust him to handle it. But I believe his position's up this year. I don't know if isn't the road commissioner's up this year? So if he runs again, that's great. He's got the information, but if he doesn't run again,
Okay,
where are we at with, I'd rather have,
no, that's fine. I
because there's
just
gonna
wanna
be,
make sure.
the potential for turnover.
Yeah. Mhm.
Do we want,
Sure,
I think we should hear it from the horse's mouth and get something in writing.
got it.
So we will set up a meeting?
Yeah, and then once we set up that meeting and figure it out, we have to figure out what we do with, we may have to add to, if it's not too late, the special town meeting to set up a new reserve account for paving and transfer. How did we handle the 300,000?
We did that.
I can look.
Did we
see
set up,
what-
was there a separate vote for it?
Yeah,
in the regular warrant, or what was it?
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. There was a separate,
A special town meeting vote for that?
no, it was in the green sheet. We just voted on it with our regular.
With our
budget.
regular money?
in March,
Yeah. To transfer that from unassigned to
To transfer, okay, so
capital.
it'll roll into unassigned automatically if we don't
and
spend
then
it.
we transfer.
Then we transfer it, okay. Or we can set up a reserve account for paving.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
Yeah, you just gotta be careful, it's kinda safe for roads.
Mhm.
yeah,
That's what we did.
yeah, paving of the roads, we
Our
could,
pay here was-
it's exactly what Stephanie wanted to do with some money last week that we said we didn't want to do, but
Yes.
in this case, it's already a number that's been set aside. You got a question over here on the right?
Years ago, when the paving came out, my father would get the base prepped for spring or early summer, and then they would surface it in the fall. And as time goes by, people get busy, and I think that's what happens. It's late in the year, and everybody's trying to hustle and get stuff done, so it'd be nice to get that cycle back into place if we could. It's a hard thing to do, because Carroll Materials is busy and they're popular and they do an awesome job. But there's a communication that needs to be,
Well, we were,
you know,
2 years ago, when we moved the money from one year to the next, I think it was communicated to them pretty clearly that we expected to be first on their list
absolutely.
because we were last on the list the year before.
Which we were.
And now it finds 2 years later, we're last on their list again. So, for whatever reason, we, whatever it is, I think we gotta, maybe in the next contract, if we sign the contract, we say, listen, we got a time deadline,
That's right.
and if the work is not done by X, then you don't get paid anything. I mean, I don't know, because,
You 3 months ago, you said on TV, somebody get a hold of them and see where we are,
yeah.
right? So,
And the next day, they jumped on some stuff, and then fell apart sometime after that. So,
All right, so we'll set up that meeting. I do just want to discuss an email that came in about the generator. So an email came in about the generator. Got a call from a captain at the fire department. The generator trailer had been damaged and the exhaust pipe was missing. This damage could destroy a very expensive piece of equipment. Ray would like permission to take the trailer in for repairs and maintenance. Maintenance was quoted to approximately $1,200, estimating the repairs an additional $1,200 to $1,500. What he'd like to do is get the authorization to spend $2,500 for these repairs. Ray does not have the funds in his budget, or neither does Chief Pelletier. So if the board would like to make a motion on that. We all have a copy of this? Okay.
well, it needs to be fixed. We can't, again, we don't have, there's no use having something around that's not working. So we go to our deepest pocket, which is our buddy Stan, and attack his fees, because he brings in some really good ones, and we have the authorization to spend them. So I recommend that we authorize up to $2,500 from the building permit fee account for repairs to the generator for EMS.
That's in Ray's budget for next year.
Service and repairs.
The what?
Service and repairs,
Oh.
up to $2,500.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Steve?
The three-time limit. You're number three.
not hearing the citizens yet.
I know, it's a three-time limit though.
Okay, I'll make it quick. Okay, so so we'll talk about our infamous generator, okay? That hasn't had its oil changed, filters, and anything else for almost 13 years.
The one we're talking about?
What we're talking about.
So we're spending the
Like at
money,
maintenance?
so let's not talk about what's going on, let's talk about positive moving forward.
That's why I wanted
We're
to
spending
be
money to have this
serviced,
done
to be
now.
ready to
He has.
go,
He was
okay?
quoted $1,200 for service, and additional $1,200 to $1,500 for, I think, what he thinks the damages might be.
Should be ready to go.
Absolutely.
A month ago, we talked about it, and Captain Smerla went up, started up, of course, batteries are all dead. I said, that's great, that would have been good use for us. The other thing is, until you guys decide what to do with the Bricktown Hall, you guys ought to make a motion that we put that in the Bricktown Hall. Okay, the generator will fit in there. It's outside, and what happened, it's got a little skylight, just like a little motorhome or something, plastic, and one of the tree branches probably broke it last winter, probably during the April storm, okay, and it's been all summer long with that wide open. I mean, it's a shame, because one of those generators now, we're looking at $40,000 or $50,000, and you guys are just finding out now that it's broke, you know, it's in bad condition and it's never been serviced, so.
The first thing we gotta figure out is who is in control of this generator and who is going to be making decisions on the generator? Is it the fire chief or is it the EMS
It's
director?
gonna be EMA.
Okay, so,
I did get that from Vinny today.
perfect. So we'll get this thing up and running
We're
Then
turning
from-
it over to EMA.
to EMA.
It is the town of Limerick's,
Yeah,
okay? The trailer was bought in, I believe, 2004.
yeah, but EMA will control it, maintain it.
Right, but where are we gonna keep it? Right, don't even talk about the fire station. There's no room for it in there, but for the temporary thing, it should be stored.
Well, it could permanently be in there. I mean, it could permanently be in there.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think we should,
It shouldn't sit outside.
we should recommend to the EMA director that when this comes back, that it be stored in the Bricktown Hall, because they're, what's that? So there are two bays up there.
Sure, yeah.
One of them currently has the UTV on the trailer
UTV in the trailers in there, 'cause we're
And-
gonna do the floor.
and the utilities in there
That's right.
that's going out for repair.
Right.
So I'm assuming when those come out, they go back in the fire station where they belong. That leaves that bay open. And
There's plenty of room.
what is being done with, I mean, it worked. I had a citizen call looking for a set of crutches. And I said, I know at one point we had a basement full of them.
We had hundreds.
I was able to go up there and scrape up. There was, in the one bay, there's 50 sets of crutches. I mean, there's walkers. So who is taking that stuff?
I can follow up with the,
Rescue,
I can,
Sockeye Rescue.
yeah, I can follow up with the fire chief and/or Sockeye Rescue and see
Okay.
if we can, I'm gonna try to get a deadline on them getting that out of there. I know that the place that we agreed to donate it to has a storage unit to store stuff in, so I don't know why it's still sitting in, the town hall, but I will,
And a few
Follow
things
up.
is good for us to have.
To be honest,
It's gotten out of hand because
I think,
our town,
Doesn't
yeah,
have any.
doesn't what?
doesn't want us to have any, it's liability.
Who doesn't?
Our town attorney.
Really?
Yeah, they were like.
Because we were gonna keep some of it. I asked Alicia to check, and the town attorney
Should
said
not.
no.
Yeah, no, she said, no, that's a huge liability.
the Lions had it, John, for all those years
Yes.
back. And maybe the American Legion would have a couple
Well,
of
there's other
those.
Lions clubs too, I mean.
Well,
that
Waterboro's a
could-
big one. Yeah, Waterboro has a big one. We may want to reach out.
Well, I know that the Sockeye Rescue has.
I think
some-
they've
Sockeye Rescue,
disbanded.
we-
The Waterboro Lions Club?
Yes.
I think they've disbanded. I thought they disbanded.
I'm not sure.
the Newfield Limerick one did.
Oh, okay. I thought there was just one. Okay.
Waterboro's predicament.
The medical
yes.
equipment has already been given to a place. I will follow up and try to get a date on when it will be leaving our possession. The town attorney stated that we should not have any of it on hand as a liability.
That's fine.
So I will follow up and I will come next week with a date that it will be removed from the Bricktown Hall.
I think we should find out what attorney the Sockeye Rescue has that's letting them, I mean,
They're a
if-
private organization.
There, yeah.
John.
Yeah,
well, there's still part of, I mean, funded by the town, whatever. It's fine. It just seems that,
I think because no, you're not designating any inspection to it, no, but you know, like, if the bottom of the crotch falls off and somebody hurts himself even more, who's liable?
Well, I guess as long as the stuff is gone, who cares? Let's have the bay available.
I mean, I agree, there needs to be, it's perfect use of equipment for people to be able to have and use, but somebody has to take the responsibility for it.
All right, we mentioned that. Opening of the time capsule / the block party with the historical. What?
There was a motion and a second, did we vote?
On the
2,500?
2,500 from,
Just so you know, all in favor.
All in favor? Opposed? Are you in favor? The 25?
the 2,500 from the fees.
All right, sorry about that. Opening of the time capsule and the block party with the Historical Society.
So I got a call from somebody in the Historical Society asking about if we had made plans to open up the time capsule. I know we have talked about it. We haven't made any,
I thought you put it on, we were, Greg
what's that?
was
Did we?
gonna meet with them.
Yeah.
I thought he did.
What's that?
I thought he did.
I don't know if he did or he didn't, but that's the way we should go because he clearly has a good rapport with them. He's working with them on this concert thing. So I would say that we direct the rec director to get together with the Historical Society and come up with a plan.
I think that's already the path we did.
All right, well, they would like,
Is this funds that are, I mean, is this some
They
funds
haven't
that we
asked-
should
they
be
haven't asked for funds.
putting into the budget, though? I mean, I'm assuming they're, or will they come out of something else?
I guess Greg could take it out of his program funds if there's. The Historical Society they wanted to, they want to kind of combine it with like a big block party, like we used to have the Founder's Day, you know, in the 60s and 70s. Listen, it wasn't all, it had to be after 70s, because I remember it, so. Anyways, I think they want to put together like maybe around the 4th of July timeframe. I mentioned Memorial Day, they said that would be too soon for them to put anything together, but whatever date they want. Let's,
So you'll ask Greg?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We did receive an email regarding the snow removal. What?
I did, yeah.
Alicia received an email regarding the snow removal on the sidewalks on Washington Street. I noticed it too, so I pulled the contract. Per Exhibit A, the cleanup of the snowstorm is over 2 inches or at the selectman's request, as well as sanding and salting of the sidewalk shall be at the request of the select board. I don't know if any of us reached out to ask them to do it. I don't think there was more than 2 inches. And so the question was, the last time this happened, the select board fined the contractor and had a substitute contractor take over. It didn't happen this time. I think the response would be that it wasn't over 2 inches and we did not request it to be done. I do think that we should have it sanded or salted, as it is pretty slick on
I
Washington
thought
Street.
last year we,
With the salt and sand, we said at their discretion.
At discretion of,
no, at one point last year, we changed it to use salt and sand after every storm. I know we did it, we made a verbal request. I don't know if it got changed in the contract, but we did vote to instruct the sidewalk contractor to salt and sand after every storm.
I'm not sure if that happened after this storm, just by the looks of
I
it.
don't think it did. I mean, I don't, know. Yeah, so,
I do remember
but
that now that you mention it.
that would have been if he had cleared it, and then salt and sand after he cleared it, but if he didn't clear it, in this case, it was, probably should have been salted and sanded because of the ice. I mean, whatever landed there just froze overnight, so, but that's on us for not, one of us to reach out, so, if somebody wants, one of us take responsibility for checking them and authorizing him to sand or salt them if it's under 2 inches?
I can do it.
Okay?
Yep.
So,
I would just need his, if you can send me his contact info.
If you're not around, I'll help.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, if you need a call, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll update you guys.
And just, yeah,
Okay, so yeah, if you could just send me the, oh, right there, okay. So I have his contact information. How does the board feel now that a couple days have passed of getting it done now? The Washington Street sidewalks do kind of look icy, so should I reach out to him and ask him?
if they're still, yeah, if they're icy, yeah, have them,
Have them sanded.
have them do it.
All right, and then another thing, the new brush truck will be picked up Friday night, or Friday in Massachusetts, and come up here. Do you have anything else on that?
I just know it'll be done soon.
All right, hearing
Well,
assist.
let's be sure, that, so the truck's coming back from Massachusetts.
Yes.
It still needs to be
I said
decaled.
done soon.
It still needs to go in for its decals, and I believe radios and maybe,
Yeah, lights.
maybe some lights.
Lights are
So-
coming, yeah.
All right, hearing assistance, Gail?
U.S. Treasury had until December 2nd to check our bank account to see if the transfers would, they probably did a test, okay? I can't get a report, we can't get a report until December 2nd ends. Okay, once they confirm the test, it goes back to the EPA, who has a few days to release the funds, and then Julie can request the funds. So we're hoping that that will happen in the next week. Speaking of Hollandville, I sent an email to the board, okay, that I didn't hear you mention, but Hollandville is going to be audited, and we received another email today. I don't know, it was sent to the board. I don't know if you've all caught up with it. They are going to look at invoices, the cost, the transactions. They're going to look at that also, in addition to the architectural, the civil engineering drawings. They'll meet with the engineer, and they will also visit the site, and they want to review photographs, anything that has to do with the project. That said, in the email that I sent, there's at least 4 transactions that have been posted to Hollandville that belong with Deepvale. And Julie said if you will just sign this, she'll be happy to take care of those things. Can someone sign it?
So there were bills for Community Dynamics that should have been billed to Deepvale,
Yes, it says so right on there.
and they were billed to Hollandville,
They were posted to
posted to
Hollandville.
Hollandville.
So I'd like that straightened out before they get here next week. In your email, you have the trails of emails discussing this, and
When did these, oh, the bills are here, right?
invoices. But they were paid in November. Some of them.
I make a motion, we ask the treasurer to reverse the entries for 3 payments to Community Dynamics.
Minutes. 4. I only printed one of the,
Four payments from Community Dynamics that were charged to the Hollandville account and should be charged to the Deepville account.
Any discussion? All in favor?
and it's my understanding that the other list that I sent has been given to the auditors.
Excuse me?
Emailed you with a list, a couple pages of things,
For review.
and that went to the auditor, even though they're just posting errors.
I sent them that to take a look at and
Hear from them.
to hear back from them. Well,
February?
I hope not. I hope it'll be this week.
All right, thank you.
Whether they got to that detail yet or not, I don't know. So I'm sending them an email now.
Steve? That was hearing of citizens. Second.
On the generator trailer, stay in the town's name, the registration and insurance, or does it go with EMA, something to think about?
The EMA doesn't have insurance, so we'll have to stay in the town name.
Okay.
I mean, the EMA department is covered under our insurance, but
I'm just saying.
it's still a town-owned asset.
Okay. Yeah, that's just so we'll know that. The other thing is, can we get some sand and salt up at the Brick Town Hall? It's that time of year. So,
Yeah, there's actually still some left there from last year, but they can replenish it.
We want to replenish it, freshen it up a little bit, and then we can put it on the town webpage or whatever. That's where it is. So we've got a cold week. We've got a lot of ice this week. So touch on a couple of other things. Is Brady said the new brush truck will be here, but in 3 more weeks it'll be a year since we purchased that truck, and we have never got to use it yet. The old brush truck, I read on the thing, it was taken out of service on 1/1/24, when in fact you guys ordered it to be put back in service last March. Okay, so that's something there. And the last thing is, I got a call from Tim Schmeller at the fire station, wanted to know if we'd donate a Christmas tree. So just to have fun with it, I said, I'll ask the selectmen, because I know how you people don't like anything that I donate. So if you want me to donate a tree to the fire department, I just figured I'd come ask this. Somebody says, oh, you can't do that, because it's too late for me to get a citizen's petition to accept it, see, so.
I make a motion we graciously accept a Christmas tree from Blizzard Hill Tree Farms for the fire station.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
The tallest one you got.
Hey, Rick, can you haul a load of sand and salt up there? I make a motion, we have Rick Richardson haul a load of sand and salt from Carroll Materials, billed to the town and placed behind the Brick Town Hall.
Second.
And whatever expense you have to truck it and cover it? Okay, if you need a top or a new top, I guess you can get it at Plumbers. Okay,
We had a motion in a second.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor? No more hearing of citizens. I look for a motion to adjourn.